Changes to the world map, naval warfare and Eastern Kingdom are the main points of this episode of Patch Preview. Let's start with the changes to the world map. So what has happened? The biggest change is the dramatic increase in the size of the world map, as seen here. Not only has the world been expanded, but Eastern Kingdom, Pandaria, Outland and Tendrasil has been moved to compensate for the size increase. What is the benefit of doing this? The change will allow for an increased focus on naval warfare. With more water available, it has allowed for more isles to be made and more school of fish to be conquered, opening up possibilities with a viable naval empire. These changes will allow for re-terraining of old areas of the world. One area that is subject to change in the future is the Twilight Highlands, which is so small at the moment that it is almost non-existent. Now on to naval warfare. What change has been done there? First of all, some history about naval warfare. In Warcraft, naval warfare is almost always rushed and unimagined, having different versions of the transport ship, weak fast ship and strong slow ship, which has been made to complement the mainland fights and not to hold anything interesting on their own. This is not how I want it to be in Azeroth, A World Reborn. So what is behind the philosophy of this updated version of naval warfare and how does it differentiate itself from the past? First of all, I want to separate that idea that naval warfare only exists to complement mainland warfare. And there are a lot of things I've done to differentiate the types of combat. There are now several objectives that can only be captured by naval units. The key thing that can be captured are school of fish. These capturable naval points work just like land control points, but offer more resources than gold. This will encourage players to fight over them at the start. One big benefit for those concentrating on naval warfare is that they have more versatility when it comes to attacking enemy players. They will also have it easier to escape mainland fights as all ships except the battleship can carry units. There are several new mechanics available for players, so let's go through them. First of all is the new colonization ability that all ships except the mage cutter has. All ships at the cost of mana can summon temporary units on land. This mechanic will hopefully help naval empires early mid-game to scout and even take control points. The second mechanic I want to talk about is the mothership. The mothership can be built by a workboat and works like a secondary shipyard. While the shipyard concentrates on defensive upgrades for buildings, the mothership will contain offensive upgrades for ships. One of the offensive upgrades is the Tumblehome propellers, which will double the speed of the new ship called Mist Rowboat. Spoiler warning, the Mist Rowboat is a stealth ship. So now I wish to inform you about the power difference between naval empires and land empires. I will take an educated guess and say some of you, if not most of you, will have thoughts similar to great. Now it's impossible to come into a land or naval fights later in the game as a dominant player will easily bully anyone out. This is mostly true. A dominant player in the other combat field will make it close to impossible for the other players to compete if they have come into the war way too late. But you, the player, have the proper tools available. With dirty alliances you can topple down any player, and there are certain artifacts which can only be obtained on land, such as the Watchtower on Eastern Kingdom, which will help friendly naval units. And of course the reverse is also true. Naval empires have the chance to actually compete on land, but it will be much harder for you if you come in late. And at last, let's take a look on what has happened on the Eastern Kingdoms. The world is going through something I would call the interactivity patches, meaning the world is created to be interacted with. This ranged from everything from units having entering a cold zone and now has lower movement speed, to great artifacts that you can capture which give a wide range of bonuses. An example of what has been implemented is the great artifact the Stormwatch defense system. All throughout the southern parts of the Eastern Kingdom are different capturable artifacts, such as the Lair of Loopholes, which on their own give you a small benefit, but also grant the Stormwatch defense system a small boost in its power. This powerful artifact encourages people who want to take Stormwind from an enemy player to first invade the nearby land, and force the player into the castle, which ironically becomes weaker and weaker. That is all for this patch preview. For more detailed changes, be sure to visit the official Azeroth Reborn site, diplomunion.com.